Come on now, Chibits. Let's be real here. You know for a fact I could not just make a live reaction for Chapter 100 of Tokyo Ghoul Re. Let's just be real here. This is a very good milestone for Ishida-sensei, Tokyo Ghoul, and just the entire fan base in general. This is a very good milestone. So obviously I couldn't just do a live reaction. So, if you're all wondering why the live reaction was taking so long, was because it was just taking me a long time to kind of do some research on this chapter and just look things up and just all sorts of stuff. Just do and get back into what I used to do for Tokyo Ghoul. So, yeah, I am doing a analysis this week. I am doing one for Chapter 100. Many of you have been asking for the past couple weeks, and I think it's about time I do so because of what type of symbolism this chapter has, but also some of the things I need to talk about when, with this chapter, what is contained inside of this chapter. So, one of the big things, just starting off on the first page, let's just talk about the title. The title is called The Red Hands, Chapter 100. Now, when you first think of the Red Hands, okay, let's just think about a character, a certain said character that has been one of the most iconic characters of Tokyo Ghoul, which is Kaneki Kin. Throughout Tokyo Ghoul recently, we know Kaneki has a weird hand. It's reddish and all that. It looks weird. It's different from a normal human or ghoulish hand, and his hand is different. And with the, title being called The Red Hands, honestly, that's what I thought that, the title was going to be about. For instance, it was referencing towards Kaneki. But after, reading this chapter, going through all the pages, this was CCG's side of the story, seeing their perspective of what's going on besides what's going on with Kaneki and his group. So, obviously, the Red Hands wasn't applied to him in this chapter. So, it feels like an out of nowhere type chapter title. And you're like, why is it called The Red Hands? Now, obviously, The Red Hands, this chapter title could be a little bit different, because the translation from Japanese to English, it could vary the actual title of, the chapter, but let's just say it is The Red Hands. I decided to type it on Google. I literally typed it on Google, The Red Hands. First thing that popped up when I started looking for it, there was this first link. I actually have a music video called Red Hands on YouTube, and then right underneath that, it says Red Hand of Ulster. I think that's how you pronounce it. I could be wrong. It's Irish, and if I'm not saying that, right, please forgive me. I'm not trying to mispronounce it. So when I found this, I'm like, okay, so Red Hand of Ulster. I clicked on it, and I see first things right at the start. You see this picture with two red hands. I'm like, Red Hands chapter title. So I decided to read this to see if this had anything that would go along with Tokyo Ghoul. For instance, if Ishida was applying some form of type of symbolism to the chapter title, because we know how Ishida is. He loves doing that. For instance, how the chapter last week was called White. It was referencing the White King and the Black King. The chess pieces. That's kind of what it was referencing. And also White is applied to Kaneki, while the Black King is applied to the Washu King Furuta. So, when you think about it like this, that was kind of the symbolism and meaning of last week's chapter. Well, with this chapter titled The Red Hands, we have something here that has something to do with mythology that references, once again, to Tokyo Ghoul. And Ishida, this is not the first time he has used, religion, mythology, anything like this. It's not the first time. If you've watched my previous videos throughout, these many months in this year, you know for a fact Ishida's a very smart and intelligent individual that loves hiding a lot of stuff throughout his words, titles, character interactions, and stuff like that. And so, I just started reading this, and I'm like, okay, so what does this have similar or in common with Tokyo Ghoul, at least Chapter 100? And at first, I thought, the Red Hands, when I was going to read this, had something to do with Kaneki, but then it didn't make much sense because Kaneki wasn't really in the chapter at all, besides, the ending, the final panel. So, I read it, and eventually I got into the origins of, this, Red Hand of Ulster. The origins, there's a legend about it, and I'm going to read it. There is a popular legend about the origin of the Red Hand, with many local variations in which it is associated with sovereignty and kingship. Kingship. Black King, White King. According to the legend, the King of Ulster had at one time no rightful heir. Think about what the chapter is about. Picking the successor of CCG. Heir. Because of this, it is agreed that a boat race should take place and that whoever's hand is the first to touch the shore of Ireland, so shall he be made the king. Now, the boat race in this instance, I guess you could symbolize it to as the island, I guess Rue Island from last, arc, but also the first one to try to take the throne, for the first person to kind of take the throne and also achieve that ranking, for instance, to be the proper heir. And whoever's to reach the shore shall be made the king. One potential king so desires the kingship that upon seeing that he is losing the race, he cuts off his own hand and throws it to the shore, thus winning the kingship. Now, what does this mean? Okay, so the hand is red because it is bloody. That's the representation of it. The reason why it's called the red hand is because it's a hand covered in blood. And the person that realized they were losing the race cut off their hand and threw it at the shore to reach the shore first. What is who you could call Furuta. Furuta is that character. For instance, he was a man that did something very dirty, sneaky, so to say. And as we know, he has a lot of blood on his hands. He didn't necessarily chop his own hand off, but he still bloodied his hands, which reference to the red hands. And since this is a battle of the next person to be in line for the throne, for instance, the next leader of CCG and lead the Washus, this is kind of what Furuta did. He chopped the freaking head off of Tsunayoshi. He just killed this man, and then he ruined the Washu clan, and now he has all this power. He's the next in line, and Mutsuri can't do much about it. So Mutsuri, it seemed like he was going to win. He was the person that seemed like he was going to win the right to, be on the throne, but it wasn't him. You have to refer to cheated, pretty much cut off his own hand, and then won. So, the reference to the red hand of Ulster, I think it has something to do with Furuta, and him pretty much cheating, or going so far to achieve what he wants, and that's why, the hands are red, because it's covered in blood, which his hands are, because he's done a lot of shit throughout Tokyo Ghoul. So, a little bit of an interesting meaning behind the chapter title, the red hands. Now, I could be looking a little bit too deep, but this isn't the first time Ashita-sensei has done something like this, so I highly doubt I am looking too deep. But yeah, who would have thought, though, the red hands, the chapter title, would not be referencing Kaneki, but actually Furuta and Mutsuri. That's kind of what it symbolizes. It symbolizes these two characters fighting over who will be the next in line to lead CCG. Now that I have, talked about that, let's move on to the next segment. So the chapter opens up with the meeting, the special class meeting room. Pretty much everybody discussing the main topic at hand. What are they going to do next? For instance, are we going to allow Furuta to be the next in line? And before that's even discussed, though, you can get a good, clear picture of what's really going on here in this room. You see all the main members, the special class members that are in this room right now that are not injured. For instance, you have it to where Aura, she's not there, but you have all these others like, you have, Mutsuri and you have Suzuya and stuff. They're all here, they're sitting at this table, and they're pretty much discussing some very important things. Because they're pretty much the main leaders at this moment. Because, the Washu clan has pretty much been fucked, thanks to Furuta and all the other shit that's happened. So, these are kind of the main people that say yes or no. Now, they're at this table, and you can clearly see on Matsuri's face, this man has seen some better days. Like, this man has been through living hell. We saw how he felt when his father died, Yoshitoki. When he died, we know this man was gravely hurt. Like, he screamed for his father, he was upset, and just overall, this man, it's gotten to him. It's gotten to him after his father died. You saw how he was like some form of, father's boy. But then losing the Washu clan like that, having, his grandfather killed, and then, having the right to be the next person in line just ripped from him like that, that's going to make someone rather depressed. Now, I'm not going to say that Matsuri's been drinking or anything. I did say it in my live reaction. But whatever the case may be, this man looks very haggard. He looks like he has not been eating right at all. We know the Washus are ghouls, and just overall, all the stress has been building up on him. You just see how his face has sunken in and all that. And yeah, like I said, just the man has seen better days, and overall with this meeting, everybody knows that Mutsuri is not in the well-fit condition to lead CCG down the proper path because of everything that's happened to his family, and also just, having Furuta come in out of nowhere and taking his spot from him. Now, Suzuya, he's being classic Suzuya in this room. You just see to where he's not really showing much emotions. He's just eating. And then you have the other characters like Urie. He's just, he's trying to be the person that's thinking and saying things and trying to get things done. You really see him display that throughout this chapter. Usually it'd be Mutsuri commanding stuff, displaying himself, trying to outthink other people, or just doing this really cold and calculative type stuff that he's shown throughout Tokyo Ghoul Re. And he, as we know, he doesn't really like Urie. He doesn't really like him at all. He does not like him. And the way Urie was able to talk to this man and talk to about, the chairman's last wishes and all that, talk about battle plans, what they should do, about Furuta, Mutsuri was just very distant from the entire conversation. It seemed like he really just didn't even want to be there, or he just was so out of it because of everything that's happened. But regardless, though, Urie was leading the charge in this meeting. He showcases these really good leadership skills, and we do know later on in this chapter he is hurt. He's hurt deeply, he's questioning himself, he has lost everything, and I mean, it shows you that he's taking steps for character development. But overall, though, I like how he's able to separate business from his personal emotions. That's what we see in this chapter from his character. There's a lot of shit that's happened. It wasn't just Mutsuri that lost everything. All these people in this room right now, everybody sitting at the table has lost something. They have lost something on their journey. Now, like I said, this doesn't mean I forgive Mutsuri and completely feel bad for this man. I kind of do, but overall, though, everybody's lost something, and we shouldn't just focus on Mutsuri in this chapter. Every character in this room has lost something, and they're contemplating their role in CCG and what they really stand for in the first place. And when you see Urie trying to, you know, speak, he's trying to think of things, what they need to do, who they should choose. He's thinking about Mutsuri, how, you know, right now he has too much of a burden on his shoulders. You just see how he's trying to make sure everybody stays in high spirits and continues on track and not getting off topic. Now, as all this is going on, Furuta jumps into the conversation. Now, we don't know necessarily what this man was doing. We have no idea if what he said was truly correct or not, because as we know, Furuta is the type of character to fucking lie. He's an actor, he's a liar, he's someone that is literally the in-game villain. He is the in-game boss. He is the Black King, the Washu King. He is the one that's going to be going up against Kaneki. He is the final villain. So this man, he will say anything and put on masks and faces to say whatever to make people think of certain things. He either likes to stay low, or he, you know, says something that'll get someone's attention. And when he walks into this room, it's classic Furuta, trying to hide his true self. He's putting on this persona, and this is what he says. I got caught up in trying to respond to all the reporters and whatnot, you know, after what's happened on Rue Island and also the prison. They got me running around like a chicken without a head with all the talk of an investigator-led breach of the prison. And what this means is he's just been talking to multiple people, the press and all that, and we do know how the Washu clan, how they kind of manipulate the press. We know how V does it as well, and he might be saying something along the lines that is actually truthful. He might be, you know, taking action with V, taking action, you know, and actually manipulating the media, but regardless, though, he's putting on an act. He's putting on this face to seem like he's not really that competent of a leader, and I wonder exactly why he's doing this. What other type of goals is Furuta trying to do? I mean, he's trying to fill the spot. We know what he wants, but the main question is for what reason. We don't know all about Furuta yet. We don't know what really drives this man. He said super peace a long time ago, and I mean, what type of man this is and how crazy he has been, that could be the true motive of him, but we don't really know. So overall, he is still full of a lot of mysteries. Ashita is still yet to reveal what this man truly wants besides leading CCG and the Washus. We don't really know. Now, besides all this, we move into how there's a lot of questions about his experience and stuff like that, because throughout the entirety of him being a part of CCG, besides him being a part of the branch family of the Washus, he is someone that hasn't really stood out. He worked underneath Special Class, you know, Kijima. He worked underneath him, and I mean, he seemed like someone before we really got to know Furuta. He seemed like a regular grunt. He didn't seem like anyone relatively special. He didn't seem like anyone that really was like, holy crap, this is a badass investigator. No one really thought of that. I mean, when we first saw him in Tokyo Ghoul Re, before we really found out about his identity and these questions that popped up, nobody really probably thought this man was going to be this great. And honestly, you probably didn't. You didn't think this man would be that relevant to the plot of Tokyo Ghoul. And everybody's right now questioning, does this man have the experience to lead us? And I mean, everybody's pretty much already made their decision in this chapter. Everybody at the round table, they're just wanting to know more about this man. They want to know exactly what drives him, why he acts like he acts, is he competent, is he smart, is he stupid? They just want to know what type of person he is, if he is the proper person to lead the Washus in CCG. So overall, that's kind of the main point of this conference room. Now, after all that's said and done, Urie starts talking to Furuta and like asking, okay, so you used to work with Heisei Sasaki. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary, something that just did not sit right with you when you were working with him? You were his partner, by the way, so you should have seen something. You should have seen something that felt very weird compared to, you know, everything else. And Furuta pretty much throws Kaneki under the bus. He's like, yeah, he used to do things that were just outright crazy. I mean, he used to break into homes and do unauthorized home investigations. He used to use interrogation. All these type of things that we saw Kaneki and Furuta doing together, we know Furuta was doing alongside of him. And we know Furuta, he was fine with it. He was keeping this secret because we know what type of role he wanted to play. So he could have easily destroyed Kaneki early on in the arc, but he didn't because he had his own reasons for it. And with this being said, he now throws him under the bus, trying to hide things that he has done, but also tried to show that he can be very truthful about the matter, but he can also be someone that can be trusted. Because this is something you gotta think about. For a man not to really say anything, like after chasing Takasuki and all that, and then, you know, how he was done unauthorized home investigations, he was still a partner with Kaneki, and he didn't reveal this information. In a way, people can look at it as he's a very trustworthy partner. He's not someone that will fuck you over and throw you under the bus, but at the same time, though, he will say something if it is of a grave importance. That's what it looks like right here. If it's something that really is concerning, he will say that information, but we know what type of character Furuta is saying. He's doing this right now to get buddy-buddy with them, where they can trust him, and it didn't look like an inside job, like Furuta was helping Kaneki, or whatever the case may be. He's just making sure he clears all those claims against him, because there probably is suspicion that Furuta did help out Kaneki in some way, since he was his partner up to the very last moments. So that's the big thing we have to, you know, wonder about, what Furuta has to wonder about right now with the people around him. And the reason why he didn't really say anything about Kaneki the entire time, besides being a trustworthy person, he thought since he did these such things that made him question if Kaneki knew the right or wrong, he thought it was because he was just a remarkable investigator and he did it for the outcome of his investigations as to why he would do such things. And so he thought he was someone that was very respectable, someone you can look up to because he would want to complete those investigations. And this instantly goes along with how Mutsuri operates. Mutsuri's the type of person that's willing to sacrifice a bunch of people for the outcome, to give an outcome. He's willing to kill everybody in the fucking investigation if he can achieve his goals and accomplishments. So yeah, this word right here is very similar to Mutsuri and how Furuta is talking right now, but a little bit different. It's a little bit more honorable, so to say, compared to how Mutsuri normally acts. So, Furuta knows this most likely, and he's kind of, you know, using an underhanded tactic to get to Mutsuri, but also people that have worked with Mutsuri, they know how Mutsuri will operate and how he sacrifices things. They probably realize, this man, he works in a way similar to him, but he's also honorable because of the way he treats his partners and he treats everybody else, because he'll do it for the outcome of the investigations. Now, once everything is said and done, they lost all trace of Sasuke. They don't know where this man is at. They have no idea. They can't find him. And as we know, that's where Kaneki's at right now. He's actually in, you know, the Cafe Ri. He's right over there right now, and they can't find him. Nobody knows where he's at. They don't know his origins, and so it's kind of like a real big, wide manhunt for Kaneki, and also anyone else that defected from CCG. For instance, Zero Squad. Now, they start discussing Kaneki's name. They just start discussing, like, the One-Eyed King and all that. He taken the title and remade himself as the One-Eyed King, and the reason for this is because he wants to rally all the original members of Ogiri Tree and their survivors from the Ghoul prison under his banner, probably to cause a rebellion. So they kind of got the most part correct, but they don't understand the true reason of why he's being called as the One-Eyed King. He is the one that took down Arima. He is the strongest Ghoul. Regardless if Kaneki isn't the strongest Ghoul, he still took down the strongest investigator, and that alone is worthy of achievements. It's rumors. Like, this is how you can look at it. In a standpoint of ancient times, before we had the internet, before we had clarification and news and all that, and even in this day and age, it still happens too. When a rumor starts, or let's just say I talk to you about, like, something, okay? Let's just say I'm having a conversation with you, and I'm saying, hey, you know what I did? I freaking could juggle, like, 6 balls in my hand, okay? But all of a sudden, a rumor spreads, it starts, you know, having the information kind of changed a little bit, and eventually people start saying, oh, did you hear? Chibi could freaking rotate 3 Xbox Ones in his fucking hand, and, you know, it's exaggerated, and that's kind of what's going on. They're exaggerating all the ghouls, and everybody that hears this rumor of Kaneki taking down the or the Arima, the actual Reaper of CCG, they're calling him the One-Eyed King because of rumors and how his popularity is spreading, and eventually his feats will grow even larger than what he even did in the first place, is because of what Arima did for him, and also how Kaneki is, you know, saying he's the one that killed him. So yeah, That's what's going on here. They don't really understand the true purpose of this, but they will eventually. They will understand eventually when Kaneki finally does make his move. Now, overall, though, besides what Urie was saying, after, explaining everything, you have it where Mutsuri says, I see, acting very passive. And you see Urie's eye, he looks over at Mutsuri. And in this moment, you instantly realize, if you didn't already key in, that Mutsuri is really acting detached. He's not showing his normal emotions that he would at these tables. We've seen him multiple times throughout part 2, and he's never acted like this. He is not being rude, he's not being aggressive, he's not being assertive, he's not showcasing his, plans, he's not doing anything like that. He's letting everybody speak for him, mainly Urie, which he does not like. He does not like this man, but he's letting him speak him, and he even acknowledges and says, I see. So, yeah. Urie instantly keys in on this and looks over and is like, wow, that's just goes to show you what type of shape he's in. So, overall, Mutsuri's not going to make the cut. He is not getting in the power position of being the leader of CCG or the Washu clan, because if they have the final say at this table to whoever's going to be nominated, it's definitely not going to be Mutsuri, because clearly his attitude in this meeting is not fit for leading CCG. Okay. So, after all this is said and done, we move over to the next segment. We move over to Ito and Urie. Ito and Urie have their conversation, and this is kind of the beginning setup for character development. I briefly talked about this in my live reaction, and I kind of want to dive into it just a little bit more, but not as much, because there's not really much to talk about at this time. But overall, though, we do know Ito, he really, really cared. He really cared about his senpai, someone that really respected and he looked up to. And when you think about it, Take, he really cared. He was a close friend. But then, when he just leaves like that, you don't know what to think. With this member a part of CCG for so long, that's raised you, been nice to you, kind, all of a sudden turns into a criminal, you're like, what do I do? It's like this. It's like having a family member that committed a crime. It committed a grave crime, murdered someone, and then you're like, why would my family member, why would my brother or sister, whoever, do that? I mean, I've known them for a long time now, years or my entire life, but then they do something like this so despicable out of nowhere. Like, why? What drove them to do this? And that's kind of how Ito is right now. He doesn't know what to feel or what to think, because for someone to go so far to, break out ghouls, he's like, doesn't that go against everything that we believed in? The entire mentality of CCG? Why so many people have laid down their lives? I mean, you went against that, and he doesn't know how to feel right now. He's in a very conflicted state, and CCG is in a turning point right now, because eventually they're all going to find out the truth about CCG. All these members that have been fighting for CCG, fighting for humans, they've been fighting on the wrong side the entire time. They've been on the corrupt side, the side that's been shackling ghouls and humans alike, changing history and rewriting it the way they see fit for their better goals and aims, and they're going to find out about this, and when they do, it's gonna shit on every single investigator that's laid down their lives for saving humans and also their friends and the reason why they joined, CCG in the first place. So, overall, I feel bad for Ito, but this is the beginning part of his development as a character and where he's gonna take himself in future arcs. So, Ishida, good job with setting that up. Now, moving on, we got Urie as well. He's a type of character we know has been through a lot. I expected him to do a whole lot more in Rue Island, I really did, but he did. And I feel like Ishida's saving his character for one big reason. He's saving him up because he's been slowly building throughout part 2 as a very important character, and Ishida's just waiting to this very boiling point before he becomes very, very critical to whatever turning point could possibly happen. Because right now, he has lost everything. And as I've already said briefly in this video, a lot of characters have lost a lot. But Urie is someone that we continue to see put on a strong mask. He's putting on this mask to show that he is strong-willed. He's not someone that's giving up hope. He's someone that will still be that person you could admire and feel like he could lead. But he's at that point to where he doesn't know what to do, the most important things, because he's had so many important things to him become lost. He's lost his teacher. He's lost his superiors, someone he looked up to. He's lost his colleagues / friends. He's lost his successor, someone that could, be better than him in the future when his time was finally up, where he could be in Arima's position. He can't do that, and he lost all of this. And the saddest thing is that this man, he showed that he didn't like Kaneki. He was very stern with him, and I honestly didn't think he had that much faith or care for Kaneki, but after what he said, like, you know, my successors, I saw them try their best to bridge the gap, you clearly see he did care. He cared really a lot for this man. But then with Kaneki doing that, it's like he trampled upon what Urie fought the entire time, but it's not even that. His successor trampled upon his teacher and took out his teacher. His superior left him and just, I'm going against what CCG's beliefs are. Haru died in a tragic way, and the way she died, it was a very sad and brutal way to go. So, I mean, this man has lost so much, and you clearly see with his face, the way he's crying, he doesn't really know what to do, but he's still moving on, just barely, but it's still, he's barely moving. So, his character right now, I feel like this is going to turn into either A, something that's going to make him become a stronger-willed character in the future to kind of make his iron will more determined, or he's going to lose it and break. One or the other is going to happen, and we'll have to see where Ishida takes his character. But one of the big things, though, about this panel I want to talk about when it comes to the art is the white and black hair. Now, this ain't the first time Ishida's used white and black colors. It's not. He's used, you know, the checkerboard patterns and stuff with, you know, duality and all that, showing, you know, like evil and good, light and dark, you know, chaos and, you know, balance, stuff like that. You know, Ishida's always done that type of stuff with his color scheme of black and white, especially when it comes to hairstyle as well. Besides the actual meaning behind it, which we found out in Chapter 99, he's always showed this as a way of symbolism or storytelling. And I feel like with Urie's hair being kind of white but black too, as showing a state of what type of mental state he's in. I feel like he's in a gray state because he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what side to choose. He doesn't even know how to feel. So this is very similar to how Suzuya is in this chapter. Like, I'm just going to do my explanation of Suzuya as well right here for right now because I don't want to re-go over it. But Suzuya's hair does the exact same thing. It has white and black. And I feel like it's exactly the same as what you could say about Urie in this chapter. He doesn't know what to believe, what side to choose, because all of his beliefs and everything has been trampled upon. And so, yeah, he doesn't know what to do or why does he fight? What does he fight for? And that's why I feel like Ishida made his hair like that, and why he made Suzuya's hair and other characters' hair like that, to show their conflicted thoughts. So, moving past this scene, we go into the Suzuya stuff. So, like I said, the hair stuff with Suzuya, when he's, like, saying he's his friend, he will, you know, uphold, you know, Shinoharu's, you know, ideals and stuff, and he will take down Sasuke, even though he's a friend. The hairstyle is very similar to what Urie was doing as well. But this scene, though, once again, more character development for a character in this chapter. And I kind of covered this rather well, I think, in my live reaction. So I'm going to briefly just cover this, because Suzuya, since the very beginning, he's shown that he is very different. He's really weird. He's an oddball. And we know his upbringing wasn't the best for a child. And we know when he met Kuro and Shiro a long time ago, after they were turned into half-ghouls, he was brutal to them. He didn't treat them like human beings. He treated them like ghouls, even though they were his close friends, and they were kind of like his fellow colleagues. He treated them like shit. He tried to kill them. But after all this time, after what's happened to Shinohara, after him connecting with Sasuke, and all of this, he's finally changed his outlook on that. He doesn't know how to feel about a ghoul. He doesn't know how to feel about that. I mean, normally if this would have been the original Suzuya in part 1, he would have killed a ghoul on sight, regardless of how long he knew you if you were a ghoul. But now knowing how Kaneki is, he knows. Like, he knows he's a good man. He's a good person. He treated Suzuya with respect. And Suzuya, he's had a life to where he lived with ghouls as well. He knows how ghouls live, so he has to have some form of perspective on ghouls. Not all ghouls could possibly be bad. And after connecting with Kaneki, he knows that for a fact. So I like Suzuya. I like how he's having this conflicted development right now with his thoughts. Like, he doesn't know what to do, what side to choose. And so, like I said, his thoughts and everything going on with him is very similar to what is going on with Urie. And, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. So, next segment, we move over into the Mutsuri and Urie scene. Now, this scene... okay. The best way to look at this scene is Urie's finally making business moves. There you go. He's finally making them business moves. Mutsuri is in a state of disarray. He doesn't know what to do. This man is, he's fucked, okay? Like, this man has had a complete loss. He's losing his chance of being a leader. He literally has his subordinates probably not respecting him as much as anymore because of the way he looks and the way he's reacting in meetings now. I just mean, overall, Matsuri's not in a good position. And Urie's the type of character we know since the very beginning. He's always wanted that promotion, but also, he's someone that has shown to grow. He's grown a lot after what happened to Shirazu. He has grown a lot. He's not someone just about promotion anymore. He does want it, but it's for different reasons now. He's not just going to be an asshole for himself. He's not that selfish asshole anymore. He's actually someone that cares about others. And we know since the very beginning he's wanted to use Mutsuri. He's been trying to lick this man's boots, you know, get closer to him, because when the time is finally right, he's going to slit this man's throat, kill him, and then not necessarily kill him, you get my point. I mean, he's going to pretty much kill his career, and he's going to move into that spot. And so, Urie is using Mutsuri as a stepping stool. He's trying to propel himself up the ladder and become an even greater person, a part of CCG, which overall Urie knows his position right now is very complicated too. Even if he was able to propel himself upward, it wouldn't be as good, because no longer does Mutsuri hold as much power as he once did, but he's still going to use him to at least get higher up in status and get well recognized. And when Mutsuri talks to him, and he's like, you know when you said you were my dog, did you mean it? Like, do you still believe that and all that? And then Urie, the way he looks down, he realizes this question right now, it's something that's probably going to determine what's going to happen in the future of his career, a part of CCG. When he looks down, and then he says something, just order me. You don't need to believe in me. You don't need to believe in who I am. You don't need to believe in what I am. You don't need to look at my backstory. Just order me to do whatever you want me to do. If you want me to go on a suicide mission, I'll do it. If you want me to kill a bunch of people, tell me to do it. That's what Urie is saying. I will do whatever you order me. You don't need to believe in me. You don't need to care about me. Just order me. And in a way, this is Urie's attempt of saying, I don't care. You're the boss. I listen to you. Yeah, I will not think of ever double-crossing you. That's kind of what Urie's trying to say, but we know what type of person he is. And as he says this, he's like, rank 1 Furuta can never be the chief. And he's being serious about this, because Furuta is the type of person, if he was to lead, this would be very bad for, you know, Urie, because he wouldn't be able to propel himself up as high as he wants to, but also Furuta is someone that honestly has a lot of shadiness behind his character. Besides what we know as the readers of Tokyo Ghoul, we gotta look at the perspective of CCG agents. They don't know much about Furuta, so this man coming out of nowhere being your boss, you're obviously gonna be worried. You're gonna be like, what the hell is this man doing here? He shouldn't be able to lead. So, yeah, he's being serious. Like, he shouldn't lead. I'd rather have Mutsuri, because at the very least, right now, with the way he is, I can manipulate him and become, you know, the next in line. That's kind of what he wants to do. So he's kind of buttering up Mutsuri, trying to make this man feel completely good about himself. And, I mean, this is probably something he's wanted to hear, someone to admire him or whatever, because he's had a really rough month, and he probably hasn't had a lot of kind words said to him that weren't just the normal things you would hear, like say, I'm sorry for your loss. Most likely, this is the first time he's heard someone say something completely genuine to him, or, you know, sound genuine. We know Urie's not being, you know, completely honest with how he feels. So, Urie, he's saying this, and Mutsuri's just, you know, he kind of gets happy about this. And he's like, I want to start telling you some information. I want you to watch Furuta. And this is going to put, you know, Urie in a very bad spot. We got to think about this right now, because Furuta, he's dangerous. He's very dangerous. This man's powerful. He's powerful. He's dangerous. He's not someone you want to mess with. He could fuck you up. He could fuck people up. So Urie following this man and keeping track of this man is going to cause the attention of some people. For instance, V, people underneath Furuta, and Furuta himself. This is going to be bad, because anyone that works with the clowns, they're going to have connections. They're going to have that information network, and there's still that suspicion around, you know, Mutsuri's wife. We know Mutsuri's wife is very, very suspicious. And with this now, there's probably more things going on here. Probably connection to Furuta, with Urie trying to spy on him and learn more of his activities. This is going to make it to where his situation's going to get a little bit more complicated, because Urie might be tracked down and hunted down eventually after he finds out the truth of what is really going on. So I kind of fear for Urie at this time, because there's a possibility shit can go south. It's not just Mutsuri's life that's on the line, it's Urie's, because if Urie finds something that can go against Furuta, Furuta will probably kill this man instantly like that. So I'm kind of scared. I'm very scared of whatever's going to happen. Now, regardless of that, let's talk about Mutsuri's. Oh, this scene, just like, I'm still in utter disbelief after reading this scene. When Urie's done and all that, this man gets up. He gets up, grabs his suit, and he's like, I can't help but just bear it all. and he rips his clothes off. Okay. This scene is just... Okay, how do I put this? As a character, I did not think Mutsuri was gay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying I didn't think he was gay. And I don't think he is completely. I think he's probably bi. I think Mutsuri is bi because he has a wife. I'm assuming so. But let's just talk about this scene, okay? So Mutsuri, he's romantically attached pretty much to Urie. He's falling in love with this man. And it's kind of sad when you think about it. It's very, very, very sad because regardless of what type of piece of shit Mutsuri is, how much of an asshole he is, I still don't like a poor man being used like that, especially romantically. It's kind of fucked up. And judging by how he just declared his love, like this man legit just fucking stripped in his office. Like, he ripped off his fucking clothes, and he kicked aside, like, his boxers. You literally see it on the top left panel. He kicks aside his freaking boxers or his underwear, and that's disturbing. Very, very, very fucking disturbing. But this man declares his love for Urie. And I feel bad for him because he's gonna be used. And if he is feeling that way, he's gonna do things, and he's probably gonna say things like how you would entrust your lover with, but Urie's gonna fuck him over in the long run. So, I kinda feel bad. I feel bad for this man, but I mean, he kinda deserves it with the shit he's done. But overall, though, to think that Mutsuri is bi, actually, he might be gay, actually, just for men. Because if you think about it, he called his wife a boring woman. So, it seemed like he was very detached from his wife. So maybe the reason why he called her that was because he had no interest in a wife or a woman in general. He only had interest in men. Possibility. Maybe that's why he called his wife a boring woman, was because he only cared about men. I'm just going to say it right here. That is a possibility. Now, I'm not going to say he's, just for guys. He might be bi, but only time will tell if Ashita reveals it to us. So after that, Urie pretty much declares to us, like, yeah, there's nothing more useful than a weakened leader, because he can snatch the spot away from him and slit his throat, and Urie's using this right now to his advantage. Then we move over into the next segment. We move over into what's going on with Mutsuki and Saiko. So Saiko and Mutsuki, they have a moment. I mean, Urie says, like, you need to put aside your feelings and you need to be able to kill Sasaki, but that ain't the big point here with this dialogue. Mutsuki and Saiko have a convo. And with this combo, they start talking about how Sasaki, they don't really want to kill him. Like, they don't want to kill him. Mutsuki believes in Sasaki, which is rather surprising because of how Mutsuki feels about men in general. We saw what Mutsuki did to Torso, what happened to, Mutsuki's parents. We know this. So, it's kind of surprising to see how Mutsuki actually trusts in Kaneki and says, I believe in him. So, whoa. But the big thing here, though, is that Saiko's a little bit uncomfortable. You can tell the way she's interacting with Mutsuki. Yeah, Saiko feels, like, worried. You see how she's kind of just stressed out in her face. It's not just what's going on with Sasaki, but it's other stuff. And eventually, Saiko decides to confront her fears and ask, are you hiding something? And Saiko doesn't say what it is, because at first glance, you would think, most likely, whatever, Mutsuki's hiding is Mutsuki's gender, actually being a real girl. And Mutsuki starts to freak out, because I feel like that's what Mutsuki was really thinking it was about. For instance, about her gender. But it might not be that. Most likely Mutsuki might have known. But regardless, though, you have it to where Mutsuki starts freaking out. It's like, no, yes, you must have found out that I'm actually a girl. And then eventually goes on to where she goes off, does her own thing. She goes with an investigator. And Saiko reveals what she was really trying to ask. I've already known you were, a girl all this time, Mutsuki, but I can smell human blood on you. So what does that mean? Well, it's everything we feared. Everything we feared from Mutsuki's character from when I talked about her in the beginning, when we found out she was crazy, and she finally just unlocked everything she was. We now know more about Mutsuki. Mutsuki is broken, insane, but also eating people. Yes. So what this means is that most likely Mutsuki has broken enough frames to where Mutsuki can be a ghoul, or needs meat. And even if it's not that, having human blood on you, Mutsuki might be doing things that are along the lines of a serial killer, like killing people, targets, because we knew what Mutsuki did to Torso was not something you would normally do for revenge or killing someone. No. What Mutsuki did was something even further than what you should ever do to someone when you want to kill someone. Mutsuki showed, I guess, little traits of being a serial killer. So having human blood on her hands, it implies that Mutsuki's going around killing people. Probably males. Probably chopping off their dicks and all sorts of shit. I can see it. I can definitely see it because that's kind of how she's been built up recently. So, Psycho being concerned and saying this, she realizes that Mutsuki's probably already too far gone. Way too far gone. So, kind of feel bad. I feel bad for little Psycho because she's been through a lot. She's lost someone she really cares about, Sasaki. She's lost Shirazu. Urie now saying the things he's saying. Just overall, she feels very sad. And then also what happened to, Almond. We don't even know if Almond is alive or not. I mean, we have no fucking idea. That man could legit still be actually dead, but we don't really know. So, Psycho's just been through a lot. She's been through a hell of a lot. It's time she really deserved a rest. So, I kind of feel bad for her, but that's Tokyo Ghoul for you. Tragedy. Now, the next segment we get into is Banjo and Akira and Hinami scene. And also, I guess you could say Sato, because Sato's there sleeping in a corner, but he's not really important. He's just chilling off, sitting in a corner, and sleeping. So, it shows that this man has calmed down at the very least. He's not killing people all the time. So, Hinami, she is the reason why she's helping out Akira in the first place. It's not because she wants to be nice. The reason why she's helping out Akira in the first place is because she knows that her Ani-chan, Kaneki, really cares for Akira. Really cares for her. Like a mother-type figure. And so Hinami is respecting Kaneki and not wanting to put harm to her, even though Hinami has a very complicated history with Akira. They both have caused harm to each other, and this is actually a good thing. This is a start between humans and ghouls trying to understand each other. Because, think about this. What better way to showcase that a human and a ghoul can coexist than besides just having half ghouls or half humans, but seeing a full-blown ghoul and a full-blown human actually understanding each other or setting aside their difference or their bloody history for they could continue moving forward and have stronger bonds. I mean, look, Hinami's family was killed by Akira's father. Hinami killed Akira's father thanks to, what happened to her family. So when you think about this, both these characters have been stained thanks to their parents, and Akira is probably dislikes Hinami, and Hinami should dislike Akira. But if they could put aside their differences, this is the first step into having ghouls and humans working together. So, yeah, that's some good stuff. I feel like that's where, Ishida's trying to take the story, but also Kaneki might use this as, a viewpoint to show that a human and a ghoul can work together. Now, Banjo is trying to fix Akira with his, Kagane. And this is something I mentioned in my live reaction, and instantly stood out to me, because as we know, ROS is a disease in humans that make it to where if there's an increase in RC cells, a Kagane-like structure comes out of their body, and it's kind of like a cancer. It's like ghoul cancer or something, and you will die. You will legit probably die, and there's like no cure or whatever for it right now as we're aware of, so you will die. And right now, Banjo is using his Kagane to heal Akira. And the only way I can see that is possible is if Banjo is using his RC cells. Since we know Kagane, they're kind of made up of RC cells, he's using his Kagane and he's pushing his RC cells inside of her to help her out. So that in a way, he is increasing her RC cell count. So even if Akira wakes up, let's say she wakes up next chapter or 10 chapters from now, she might develop some form of ROS, which could lead to her death, or we see the next best thing. We see something to where she evolves. I've talked about this many times. I'm not going to get exactly into the topic, but we do know ghouls are kind of like a hybrid or evolved humans in a way. They have evolved past ROS. And what if Akira shows signs of evolving past ROS? She gets it or evolves past it or whatever because of what Banjo is doing with his Kagane. It'd be very interesting. I'm curious to see where Ishida's going to take this, because for Banjo to say he's never done this before, he's never fixed a human being, and this is the first time, he doesn't even know if he's doing anything correct, then there's a potential possibility something bad could happen to Akira. So, yeah, Ishida, Don't disappoint me. I know you won't. Just please, don't disappoint me. I'm curious to where you might take her character. So, next part, moving on. We'll move into the final part of the chapter with Kaneki and Furuta meeting on the street. Now, we don't know where this is taking place at. We don't know if this is taking place after the meeting with CCG or before the meeting. It's not really stated in this chapter, because for all we know, where this takes place right now in this chapter, this could take place, this scene, this final panel could take place right before the CCG meeting. Think about that. That could be where this takes place. Because remember, Furuta said he was stressed, he was, you know, talking to reporters and stuff, and he seemed like he was out of breath running in. What if that meeting, or whatever he was talking to, was actually Kaneki? So, we're seeing the beginning of the chapter, actually, but it's the ending. You get my point I'm getting at. Hopefully you understand what I'm talking about. So, regardless, we don't know where this takes place at and what point of time, after the meeting or before the meeting, but Kaneki and Furuta are having a convo. And as I said in my live reaction, this most likely is going to be a war declaration. Both of these kings are going to be filling each other out, figuring out what each other wants. It's kind of like two leaders coming to each other, two generals, talking to each other, saying, I want this, I want this. They're both negotiating, and if negotiations break down, obviously war is going to happen. So most likely this is the two leaders, the human leader, or I guess you could say CCG's leader, and then also the one-eyed king coming together and having a discussion before shit hits the fan. It's like a political meeting, and whatever happens could determine whatever's going to happen for the next arc. So this next chapter is going to be very, very important because of what is going on right now in the story. With, you know, Kaneki and Furuta being the kings, the Battle of Kings, they're going to have a discussion and figure out what each other wants. We know Kaneki wants to force the world to view the world in a certain way. He's trying to force them to actually see the things, open up their eyes, while Furuta, he's someone, we don't really know his motives. We don't know what this man is trying to accomplish. We don't even know if this man might turn out to be a fucking amazing guy, good guy, but for very wrong reasons. We don't know everything about his character, so a lot is in the air. Ashita can do a lot with this right now, and I just can't wait to see what he will do. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. I mean, how'd you all feel about this chapter? How'd you all feel about chapter 100 of Tokyo Ghoul? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? I mean, please, let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. And I know not everybody likes long videos. I know that not many people like watching like long videos in general. And if you still are watching by any time, like if you're still up to date with this video right now and you're watching it right now, I truthfully want to say thank you. It really makes me happy to know people sit around and, you know, watch this. I know many of you say, like, you know, like putting on the video and then doing something else because it's like a podcast, and I just really appreciate many of you really enjoying these type of videos, or Tokyo Ghoul, or any of my videos, especially my long ones. It makes me happy. It truly does make me happy when I see you guys saying you enjoy it, and I just want to offer my apologies for not making long videos like, you know, analysis for Tokyo Ghoul recently. I've had a lot of things on my plate, but also, I guess I could say, too, I've been a little bit lazy, and I just want to say, please forgive me. I'm very sorry, and I do hope, in a way, this will cheer you all up for anyone that's been asking for an analysis, and also, I hope you guys are still watching. So, shout out to all you Chibis that are still watching this video at this time marker, around 51 minutes in. Most likely I'll edit a bit, it'll probably be around 40-something minutes, but thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. This is a great chapter. Can't wait to see what happens next. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.